Hey folks, welcome back to the Barbarian's Horde. I'm the Nerdy Barbarian, and today I've got one from Tejas for you. This is the Rockwall Flipper. Not the old one, not that slimy old thing. This is the new hotness, not the old busted. This is the new, bigger V2. It goes to 11. Let's talk about it. Stick around. Now, those of you who have been in the overpriced knife game for any amount of time have heard of the Rockwall Flipper from Tactile Knife Company, formerly Tactile Turn, who made pins. They jumped into the knife game. They're doing a really good job at it. Those boys down in Texas making some pretty good knives for pretty good money. Honestly, they're really priced pretty competitively compared to other things in the market similar to them. This, like I said in the intro, is the V2. This is a little bit bigger than the first flipper. When these came out, they were flipper models, I believe. Then they went to a thumb stud model for a while. That's been the one that's been on the market the most. And now they're back to a flipper for this updated one. It's a little bigger, a little nicer, and it has a flipper again. So if you've been waiting for a flipper model, now's the time. This particular example came from Recon 1. I'm not sure if you can get these bronze accented ones anywhere else, but I got it from Recon 1, and it was a little more expensive than the base model with this bronze stuff on it. It's got a bronze pivot and hardware, bronze backspacer. Recon 1's not cheap. That's just the way it is. If you want the fanciest ones, you're going to probably have to pay a little more. That's where you can get this one. But this review should cover even the regular ones, the base model ones that aren't bronze anodized. So I'm going to roll this all in together. This should be relevant to you even if you don't want the Recon 1 limited run one. Let's take this over to the bench and get a close look at it. And there you go. This is how it comes. Pretty slim, sleek, minimalist design package. I think it's pretty it complements the knife pretty well. It fits the vibe. The whole knife's kind of slim, sleek, and minimalist in my opinion. Proudly designed, machined, and assembled in Texas. This is just a little outer sleeve with a foam insert, and just push it out. Got a little cover card with the knife info on it, and then the tray with the knife. And that's all there is to the packaging. Nice and simple. I got this at the same time as I got the Tactile Archer. It came in a way fancier pouch. Nice zip-up pouch. Haven't done a video on that one yet. I'll do that one soon, hopefully. And there you go. Just a really nice little elegant, what I would call a gentleman's knife probably. Flip only, no thumb studs on this one. That's my biggest complaint. I'm going to get to that up front. My biggest complaint with this knife is they got rid of the thumb studs. I don't know why they did that. Just leave the thumb studs. Just put the flipper tab on and leave the thumb studs. I don't know how many of you are in agreement with me, but I like multiple deployment options on a knife. Nothing makes me happier than being able to open it multiple ways. In fact, I recently got into balisongs and kind of fell down that bottomless pit really hard because turns out those are like the best knives for fidgeting. What do you know? Of course I'd fall for those things. But this is a fun knife. It's really satisfying to flip. If you're going to have one deployment method, it better be really good, and this one is. It is good. Nice and snappy. And for such a light blade, it actually falls pretty well. I'd say this is like a one shaker. Just a one little shake, and it falls. Also, I'm always complaining about the detent placement. This one, if you open the lock bar and drop the flipper onto your thumb, it's past the detent and ready to fall. So no complaints there. Thank you, Tactile, for doing that right. I wish you'd done it right on the Archer. I don't want to get into that one right now, but yeah, the Archer doesn't do that. It's got problems. Yep, flips really nice. Really nice action. Light, slim, sleek. Before I get too carried away with this, though, let's weigh it and compare it, because I usually forget about that until I'm way into the video. Please don't leave. I feel like every time I get the scale out, people get impatient and leave. Use Zoomers in your ticky-tacks, TikToks and Instagrams. 2.8 ounces, or 2.7 ounces. 2.6, 2.7. We're going to call it 2.7. Very light. This is probably the lightest knife I own. Large Chris Reeve knife. And as always, our friendly neighborhood Spyderco. The PM2. Smaller than a PM2, but not dramatically so. 7 3/4 inches, maybe a little more than that. 7 7/8 inches, tip to butt. So it's a pretty good sized knife, and it weighs nothing. Under 3 ounces. Absolutely incredible. Super, super, super light knife. Very thin scaled with a little liner lock there. Milled out for weight relief on the inside, so that's how they're getting it down so low. It also uses a pretty thin blade stock. And that also contributes to the lightweight. The whole thing is just really, you know, we like knives that are big and chunky and tough. They're fun, they look cool, they're fun to play with, but really if you want a good knife to do knife things that you should be doing with a knife and not ridiculous things that you shouldn't be doing with a knife, you want a slim knife like this. People will say, oh, it's a slicey knife, but really it's just a good knife. a good knife should be slicey if we're honest with ourselves and we don't have our pet knives with our big fat blades that are stupid. This is just the way a knife should be. Slim, sleek, thin ground, really fine behind the edge. And this is a really, really good example of that. This thing will slice and dice and make julienne fries like nobody's business. Don't smoke, kids. It's bad for you. Play with knives instead. It came with a pretty good edge from the factory, and I've used it to open some packages and mail, like envelopes. Yep, very, very slicey. It slices really nice. I'm very happy with that. Out of the box, the action wasn't this good, which I guess is important to mention. It didn't take much to tinker with it at all. I just very, very slightly loosened that pivot. It was a little over tight maybe from the factory, and then put a little bit of lube in there, and now the action is great. It always flipped out nice. It just didn't drop quite that smooth until I loosened it and lubed it. We like them loose and wet. Yeah, nice and droppy. It's not going to slam closed, but if you drop it on your thumb, see. Okay, I was talking about the detent earlier. It is very close. If you get your thumb lower on the lock bar and drop it, it will drop onto your thumb and be clear of the detent. But if you're a little too high on the lock bar, it's not going to quite make it, and it's going to be on the detent still. It could improve that a little bit, but it's not so bad that I'm going to cry about it. As long as you're a little further down on the lock bar. Yeah, see, I'm screwing it up again. It is close. It's very close, but I can live with it. And if you're too far down, it's going to miss your thumb and hit your knuckle and cut you. But it's passable. I'll give it a pass. So very light, nice, good size knife. Not what I'd call a small knife, but it feels small because it's so slim. It's short. It's slim. It's very, very light, but it's so long that it doesn't feel like a super tiny knife. I enjoy it a lot. It has plenty of room for me to get a full 4-finger grip on it. The clip is placed high up on the back, which is a good design choice because it puts it more in the middle of your hand instead of down here against this, I don't know what you call that, a knuckle. What do I look like, a hand scientist? This part of your hand, which would be a little more uncomfortable. The clip is high enough up that it sits right in the middle of my meat. Right in the meat, so it doesn't bother me. You got a little bit of jimping there if that turns your crank. Not a big deal to me, but you got it. I said this in the unboxing, but I liked the way they did the logo last time better. This little laser etched tactile on the blade looks a little generic and boring to me. Magna cut on that side. I'll splice in a picture here. The old Rockwall thumb stud had a way cooler looking logo, but that probably got in the way. I think the grind has changed a little bit since then. Speaking of the grind, you've got the plunge back here that goes into the sharpening choil, giving you just a little bit of clearance there to sharpen. They did give you a tiny sharpening choil though, and I like to see that. It's a big pet peeve of mine when there's not a sharpening choil because you can't sharpen it and have it look good. It's going to look like shit as soon as you start sharpening it more than once or twice. You get a sharpening choil here, so that's good. For those of you who are sensitive to deep carry, shallow carry clips, this thing has a super deep carry clip. Goes all the way to the tip. Yeah, see that? The thing's going to completely disappear in your pocket. So if you're a crybaby about shallow carry clips, you should be happy with this one. This particular example has bronze anodized accents, the pivot, and the hardware. Very, very deep anodization. I got this one from Recon 1. I'm not sure if you can get this anywhere else. I think it might be an exclusive to them. Bronze there. And then a bronze backspacer also, which is a nice touch. They didn't have to go with a backspacer on a knife like this. I figured they'd do a standoff. Because they're simpler, they're cheaper, and they're lighter. And that seems to be a thing they're going for with this knife is lightweight. So I'm surprised they put a backspacer in, but I'm happy they did because in my opinion, a backspacer just makes a knife look so much nicer. Fit and finish is good. I haven't seen any problems. There's no hot spots. Everything's nice and rounded over. You've got a little bit of a groove dug out here for a landing zone when you flip, which is fine. No problems with that. Came centered. Looks centered. It came with no blade play or lock rock. And it came with, like I said, pretty good action. I had lubed it up a little bit and it was perfect. So no complaints there. Really, overall, this is a great knife. And these things, I think you can get them around $300 if you don't get the fancy Recon 1 version with the anodization. But even this was only like $360, $370. Not bad. I've paid a lot more for a lot less knife. This is an American-made knife with titanium and magna cut. Very, very high-end materials here. Really good attention to detail and fit and finish. You're getting a lot for your money. In fact, this might be like my favorite just plain Jane EDC knife. If you needed just a knife to do knife stuff, an honest tool for the job, you'd be hard pressed to do better than this. It's really nice. Slim, sleek, lightweight, disappears in the pocket, looks nice, isn't terrifying to look at. It's not going to scare your sissy friends. But it's plenty of blade to do pretty much anything you need to do, and it's going to do it well because it's so thin and slicey. And since you got MagnaCut, it's going to hold an edge pretty well. It's going to be pretty tough, and it's not going to rust. There's really nothing to complain about here. I'm very fond of this. I need to sell knives so I can afford to get more knives to keep doing videos, or else I'm going to go under. But I really wanted to keep this. I actually posted it for sale, changed my mind, posted it back, changed my mind. And then someone messaged me after I'd withdrawn it and was like, "Are you sure you don't want to sell that?" And I was like, "Well, I guess so." So I reluctantly am gonna sell this on to a guy on Reddit so I can afford to keep making videos. But it was a hard thing to do. I really, really like it. This is a fantastic knife. This is I would say this is one of the better knives made in America that I've tried at any price. I really don't have anything to complain about on it, other than I wish it had a thumb stud, just because I like to fidget. I guess if I had one other complaint, and it's nothing they did wrong, it's just this is a very thin blade stock knife, so the flipper tab is very thin, so that's a little bit weird feeling, a little uncomfortable maybe, but not worth crying about really. It's not a big deal, but it is a little thin and feels a little pokey. I'm not sure they can really do anything about it though. And I guess they could move the detent just a hair more to give it absolutely, like, I wish it was off right there, but it's not. It's off here, which is, serviceable. I wish it was a little closer to the tang. So if they could change that and add a thumb stud, this would be perfect. Absolutely perfect. But for under $400, even closer to $300, depending on the one you get, fantastic, man. Just a really good bargain, really good deal. I know that's a lot of money, but when you're talking about these American-made titanium knives with MagnaCut, you're going to be hard-pressed to find anything better for anywhere near that price. There's maybe one other company offering something like that. Okay, guys, that's all I really got to say about this one. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe on the way out the door. Check out another video if you want to. Please, pretty please. Be a really cool guy. Thanks. See you next time. Bye-bye.